This church is a place you can call home, where you can grab a cup of coffee and meet new friends. Today, we're going to
stay in worship with us.
Darkness, did he deliver me? Yes, he did. So yes, he can. Oh, yes, he did. So yes, he can. 'Cause sometimes those voices try to tell me I'm forgotten and I'm so yes, he can. 'Cause I've seen too much. No, I can't deny. He's come through every single time. Thank you. From the beginning until the end. So yes, he can. Did he defeat the darkness? Did he deliver me? Yes, he did. So yes, he can. Oh, yes, he did. So yes, he can. Yes, he
One thing I'm trying to do, right, is when I'm proclaiming the words that I'm singing, yes, he can. And he has for me. I've battled lots of things in my life. Depression was one of them. And if you battled that, you know. That's something that we can't overcome. That's a spiritual warfare thing. That's God overcoming that. And he's done that. And he's done that. Just don't make sense. Don't add up. It clouds our judgment and blinds us from what we... It gets us distracted, really, is what's going on, right? So this morning, here's my challenge for me. You can join in with me if you want. You don't have to. You do what you want to do, right? But this morning, I want to feel God. Fill me up. Here and here. Cool? Everybody good? So you can join with me if you want, but that's what I'm going for.
touch. My eyes were open to see. My heart can't help but believe. There's nothing that our God can't do. There's not a mountain that he can't move. So praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. There's not a mountain that he can't move. Oh, praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. Believe it. There's nothing that our God can't do. There's no power like the power of Jesus. I will believe for greater things. There's no power like the power of Jesus. Let faith arise. Let all agree. There's no power like the power of Jesus. I will believe for greater things. Praise the name that makes a way. There's nothing that our God can't do. Far be it from me to not believe, and it is well, it is well. Oh, His name, the waves and wind still know His name. With my soul, with my soul. And it is well with me.
Good morning, Oak Hill. All right. How we doing this morning? Great. Awesome. A hotel, yes. And not just store-bought stuff. Some of that stuff is old people desserts, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, those women know what they're doing, right? That all the offerings and tithes that one Sunday to trying to take on some of the projects that we're trying to do around the church. So if you're here this morning and you don't get things started off, we're going to take a poll this morning. Okay? I made a comment the other day in youth group, which I think was right. And then there's a few people in this room and other people that said, no, Alan, you're wrong. And they literally tagged me on Facebook stuff and all those kind of things. So we're going to take a poll. Talk about today in the house of the Lord and that we should really give Thanksgiving all the attention it deserves. And we're not going to celebrate Christmas till the day after Thanksgiving. We had you this morning, Ray. The last service there was one solitary person that's celebrating Christmas already. One, all right? So I don't know what I feel about that because that we see, right? And I think social media really compounds that, right? So as a Kentucky football fan yesterday, man, Twitter was fun. That's really how you and I should live. But listen, man, sometimes we take negativity in the room and say, Alan, I know without a shadow of a doubt that I am an above average. On my hunting stuff with Steph, it's North Dakota, it's going to be cold. I need to buy this $300 parka. You don't want me to die up there, right? And I get there, give a lot more criticism than we do praise. And here's the thing, though, a lot of times is that the worst part is it makes us miss, and that you'll just communicate through me, God, in your word, and that we'll just respond how you want us to. And all these things we pray. And 10 lepers who stood at a distance and lifted up their voices, saying, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said to them, go and show yourselves to the priest. I want to be the one. I want to be the one that says, you know what, Jesus, I'm thankful for you. I want to be the one that says, I'm not going to take what you gave me for granted. I want to be a social outcast, a physical outcast. You had to walk away from everything that you loved. Think about that. Your family, gone. Yell out, hey, I'm clean. Just because I want you to know that you can't be around me. And you got to be minimum 50 yards every relationship. So can you imagine the desperation that these people are in? Can you imagine just the despair, right? And then one day you're like, hey, listen, they say that he's literally coming by here. So can you imagine just the desperation that you would have? Can you imagine listen, we got to try it, right? We've got to try it. They were healed, cleansed. Can you imagine that walk? Knowing that you've resigned yourself to die alone, that you resign yourself to die without your friends, without your colony, right? We don't know how long they'd been alone. We don't know how long they'd been outcast, right? We don't know. But can you imagine running in the house and just grabbing your wife and just hugging her ribs when you hug her, right? You know, like when I see her, she'll literally tuck her arms in and embrace because I'm just like, I just want to get my hands on her. Not give thanks to where it all came from, right? I mean, as you're hugging your family, do you not go, I take God's blessings for granted. There are the times that I take my salvation for granted. Exactly. So how do you and I then become the one? And there's a few statements that I wrote down and looked at that I think will help us. Number one is don't forget that If I could sing, oh, it would be on. I would go on Candace's desk every time she went to lunch. Mike Dills is a beast on the guitar. And yes, he works hard and has played forever, but it's God-given. Hey, Noah built the ark. So let's not take for granted. Listen, don't forget, every good thing in our life comes from God. Every Thursday, I get the opportunity to speak to friends to duck hunt with. Every good thing in our life has come from God, not your pride, not your entitlement, good. So the good things that you and I have in our life, let's give credit where credit is due. It's to God. It's to God. Second thing is this right here, and this is big. We can speak, have, right? So don't let what you want overcome steal the joy from what you have. Ephesians 5:20 says this, it says, giving thanks always and for everything. I remember the first time I went on a mission trip, and listen, and we've had the opportunity to take some teens, and we're going to do that again for spring break this year. But I remember the first time I went to Mexico on a mission trip. Happy people. Because why? Because when you're thankful for what you have, you ultimately realize that what you have is enough. You with me? That's enough. They said with COVID and inflation, they think that has jumped between 75 and 95 million. So they're saying right now there's approximately 750. It's 4:11 and 13. It says, not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I've learned in whatever situation I'm in to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. Lift up my hands. I like the first part of Psalm 103. It says, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. All of me, right? Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Don't forget what he's done. You got 37 seconds. I want you to find someone that's not to your right or not to your left and tell them you're thankful for them and tell them why. On your mark, get set, move. Want to do. Now listen, was that hard? No. Raise your hand if you were encouraged just now. Exactly. So what are some ways that we can make that part of our routine? Here's my challenge for you. Number one, every single day you have to do that at least one time. Find someone. You got to at least send out 5 the blessings that God's given us and say, hey, thank you. I'm going to do what I want to do. I want to make sure I put the blessings and the thankfulness and where it goes. It's God. Now, looking back at our text in Luke chapter 11, I had a couple of thoughts. First of all, they all had an incurable condition, right? There's no amount of willpower, and I can't help but correlate that to you and I. See, God intended us to be with him, and our sin has separated us from God. And each and every one of us in this room has an incurable disease, an incurable condition, and it's called sin. That there's not one of us in this room that's perfect this morning, and we can try really hard, and we can have really good intentions, and we can work diligently at all those things. But there's nothing that we can do to bridge that gap, that our sin has separated us from God. Nothing we can do can fix that. So we're just the same as them, and we're in this together. It's a condition that affects every one of us in this room. It doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter how well, but he made a way. He made a way. And that way was Jesus. And if we're here this morning and we've accepted Jesus Christ as our personal Savior and we have that relationship, then we know that our entire life here is different, and we know that all of eternity is different. And the only way that's possible is because of Jesus. So then how do we not live in a way that honors that? How do we not live in a way that thanks him for that? That God, Jesus, I was separated from God, and today's your day. The whole reason you were invited me, the whole reason you drove by and just said, hey, I'm going to check this out, I don't know. But the whole reason why you're in here is I want you to understand this gift that he's offering you is that he loves you, and he laid down his life for you. And that today, right here, right now, you can get forgiveness for your income, coming forward and putting steps into action today and say, okay, I'm going to come to the altar today and say, hey, forgive me for taking you for granted. And I'm going to make sure that I'll give praise that where praise is due. It's on you. Here that's taking that for granted, that today's day we come clean and say, hey, I don't want to be the 9. No more. I'm done with that. God, I'm coming to thank you for what you've done for me.
Come to the end of yourself. Do you thirst for a drink from the well?
us this morning, there's a card on the seat in front of you, a little blue card. If you would fill that out with your information, we'll trade it in the lobby for a gift. It's good. That's the theme. Coconut cream pie. Monday, November 28th, beginning at 9:30. February the 10th, Night to Shine. Man, I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for this church and for the community, and to be able to